Hello and welcome to Portsmouth This Week. I'm your host, Conley Zani. This show is under the auspices of Rich Rayner, our Portsmouth Town Administrator. Together, Rich, myself, and the entire Portsmouth This Week team are on a mission to build community. We do that by bringing you accurate and timely information about the events that impact you. We introduce you to the faces, the leaders, and the characters in this magical place that we live. I am honored today to be talking to two lovely ladies about Glen Manor House. I have Brenda Doran, who is the chair of the Friends of the Glen Manor House, and Maggie Shields, who's with Russell Morin Catering and Events. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
I am so excited to talk about Glen Manor. I know there's been a lot of transition lately and cool events coming up, so we'll get to all of that. But I thought I might start, Brenda, with you as chair of the Friends of the Glen Manor House. I know that organization's been together since like what, 2007 or so?
Yes.
So can you give us a little background on sort of the why and the essence of what that organization is about and how, the role or how it relates to what is going on at Glen Manor right now?
Sure, I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give you a little more history further back.
Please, please. I know nothing, so I'm the perfect person to tell.
Okay. So I started in this almost 20 years ago, and I was part of the Glen Manor House Authority, which was an organization that oversaw the managers, Katie and Don Wilkinson, who had been there for 30 years.
I've heard wonderful things about them. I've never met them, but just kind of magic things. But they needed to retire, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they retired to Scotland.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes,
okay.
just for December of 2022.
Oh, all right.
So we worked with them, and it was just a wonderful relationship between the authority and Katie and Don.
Was the authority part of the town of Portsmouth or something separate?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a town committee.
And you raised your hand? You were just like, I'll help.
No, what happened was that a lot of people were aging out who had been on the authority and started the authority.
Okay.
If you think back to the Glen Manor House, if I can tell you a little bit of history about it.
Please.
Okay, it was built in 1923 by a gentleman, an architect called John Russell Pope, for the owners named Moses Taylor. That was the owner and his family, and it was their summer home. And it was a property of between 800 and 1,000 acres that included Glen Farm, Glen Park. It went all the way down to the water. It's just it's a beautiful area.
And I know there's some magical picture, historical photo out there that just makes your jaw drop.
That just surfaced, so I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so that property was being sold and the town bought it because originally Reginald, let me get this straight now, Reginald Taylor actually sold 43 acres to the Sisters of Sacred Heart, which was a Catholic organization for a Catholic school called Elmhurst Academy. So Elmhurst Academy was built along with and the boarding part of Elmhurst was in the Glen Manor House.
Okay.
So they had the school there 1960s to early 1970s when the school sold it. The town purchased the land and the property, and and I think what they did was that's where they started Elmhurst School, which was an elementary school, which they didn't have to build. It was already an existing building.
Right.
So the town had that, but the authority was established to make sure the beautiful property and home that existed on it, and still does, was preserved. So we never wanted anything to happen to that. It's such an asset to Portsmouth.
Yes, most definitely.
So Katie and Don ran it. He was more the caretaker, and Katie was the one who set up all the events. So they had many events there.
Yeah.
And she, as I said, she retired. So from the authority came the Friends. So what the Friends was to get the community involved in knowing more about the Glen Manor House and to have them be supportive so that nothing happened to the Glen Manor House. So
Right.
we're there to preserve the
Just
Glen
some
Manor
engagement,
House.
some heavy engagement
Yes.
on, caring and keeping an eye on things.
Absolutely, and you can be, and we meet there monthly, and anybody can be a member of the Friends.
Tell me a little bit about the organization. So monthly meetings, that sounds enticing, just to get to go and be in that beautiful space, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So we
so-
put on 4 events a year.
Okay, what does this
So
look
let me
like?
tell you what they are. In the summertime, we put on the American Band Concert. And last summer, we took a hiatus because of the pandemic, but last summer we had over 350 people that came to the American Band Concert. That's a free event.
Is this
And
outdoors?
It's on the loggia, which is attached. If you haven't been there, you have to go visit.
I've done one wedding there, but that was pre-pandemic, and I guess I was so focused on, the groomsmen there that
The beautiful couple.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't really take a good look around, and I know Hathaway School, when my kids were at Hathaway, they do a fundraiser, which I know we'll be talking about. That's coming up too. But so a loggia. What did you?
Well, it's
just say?
a stone patio with a portico. It's
Okay.
The Glen Manor House was
Just
fashioned
gorgeous.
after an elegant French chateau. So just to give you a sense of what it looked like.
Okay.
And it's very, very large.
All right. So the bands are outdoors.
The
in the
band's
summer and-
outdoors. The people are on the beautiful lawn. They can bring picnics and have food and drink and sit down and
Now,
relax.
do you have to be in the Friends of the Glen Manor House, or it's
No,
open
no,
to
no.
the entire Portsmouth?
It's
public?
open to any people
anyway.
from the island come.
We can have people from Tiverton there.
Yes, you can. So
That's
it's
great. That's wonderful.
So it's a nice summer event.
All right. And what else?
Okay.
One a
So-
season or what?
One a season.
Okay.
An American band comes in one a season.
Okay.
So then we have the open house, the holiday open house, which happens. Of course, I'm sitting here. I should grab my notes so you all know the date of these
Well,
events.
if you want to, we can have you back on anytime. Sounds like we maybe need to,
An update.
actually, right? Like just to get our dates right. But do you have it right there?
I do. So,
really? It's already planned.
the
Okay.
American band is July 6th.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. The open house is December 10th, and that is a free event to the community.
Okay.
Santa Claus is there.
Oh.
He greets a lot of children. We have different, I would call them more dessert type things that come out, cupcakes and brownies and Christmas cookies and punch
Okay.
and coffee
All right,
and
that sounds
tea.
great.
So that's a nice event. And we also bring in different, we have, for example, the high school chorus performs. We've had step dancers come in. So we've had different things from the community come in and perform. So people can sit in the large ballroom area, hear music while other people mingle in the other rooms and partake of some of the nice
So
goodies.
again, a mission of community engagement with
Yes.
this very, very important building for Portsmouth. Yeah.
Absolutely. So then we have Mistletoe Madness, which happens December 1st, so a little before the open house.
2 back to back. That's a lot.
It is a lot. That is not free.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
That is our
I was like, are
major.
you all losing your minds planning these events? Okay.
That is a major fundraiser for us, and that
Oh, okay.
is that is an event that takes place on a Friday night, and
Okay.
we have a live band.
Yeah. And if people wanted more information about that, where
They
would they
go to the glenmanorhouse.com
Okay.
website, which I think is on your screen right now. And hopefully,
Maybe. That's great. Okay.
so that's a great
right.
event. Everybody gets dressed
Oh,
up.
it's certainly dress up
Yeah.
and get fancy. Holiday.
Yeah, they have different stations of food, and
Okay.
so it's all the food you want and all the drink you want and just fabulous desserts.
Okay.
And the house is decorated beautifully. As a matter of fact, the Friends were responsible for purchasing the large pre-lit tree that's there. Well, it's not up currently, but that goes up every holiday
okay.
season. So I also wanted to mention for our fundraising, we do things for the Glen that help. Different I can tell you some of the things we've done over the years. I mean,
Yeah, just a few, just to paint a picture.
You know, we did the center lantern in the loggia. We installed that. For the bride's room, which is upstairs on the second floor, we purchased a rug. For the groom's room, we purchased a couch. We've repaired the lawnmower. We bought a golf cart so that the groundskeeper could get around the lawn much faster. As you can imagine, it's a lot of lawn to take care of.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So those are some of the things we've done.
Okay, that is awesome. So you have a membership.
Yes.
And again, if people were interested in knowing more or maybe even joining, they would go to that glenmanorhouse.com?
They would,
Yeah,
and there is actually a drop down for friends. You'll see the friends.
Okay.
And you can actually also see events and click on that as well, because there are other events that happen other than weddings and things.
Yes, clearly, yeah.
So you can click on that, and there is an application on that to fill out. If you'd like to become a member of the Friends, we'd love to have you.
I think I might.
I think you should.
I tell you, the thing about hosting the show, everybody I'm just getting involved in everything. Like I meet
Your calendar's full.
I meet amazing people like you, and I'm like, that's so cool. I want to be part of that. You know, that's really awesome. Now, did we hit all your Mistletoe Madness?
Yeah, well, there is one more
Is there
event.
one more? What is it?
It's the annual meeting for the members
Okay.
of the Friends.
Okay.
This year we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have it prior to the American Band concert. So we're going to host it right on, well, we always host it right on the property, but it used to always be a week later after the American Band concert.
Okay.
It's just an opportunity for people if they want to come in and meet the board and
Yeah.
hear about what's going on.
So you are a nonprofit.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, right. And that's such a nice thing. We've got this nonprofit group that is focused on community engagement around this beautiful place. And you know, now, since Katie and Don have left, I know there was a big process, Maggie, to find out who was going to run this beautiful facility. And Russell Morin Catering and Events is now the new, I think it's the official term is concessionaire, right? And so it's this beautiful.
Very formal.
I know. Is that French? I don't know. Anyway, that's so great to have this nonprofit arm that is making sure the community is really linked and engaged, and then you guys are taking care of really just making this a very well-run facility and kind of taking the torch forward, right?
Yes, we were
Yeah.
really fortunate that we had the opportunity to really bid on it. I had shared before that Katie and Don we've worked with for a number of years, and they had been such a pillar within our industry. I would say probably almost every person that you speak with probably either learned something from Katie and Don or started a new practice because they saw the way that they did it. So they really were such a great attribute to us. So to be able to fill their shoes is such a great opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. So you've worked with them for years.
Yes, I've been with Morin's 14 years now, and one of my first 3 events I think I worked were all at the Glen, and I met Katie. So it really was, you know, a long time relationship with them, which is great.
Oh, that is absolutely fabulous. So what was the process like? I mean, I know there was a big, I don't even know what you really call it, but just sort of request for proposals or something like that,
Request for
right?
proposal went out to bid, and there definitely was, you know, a lengthy process, which it should because it's such a great responsibility. So we need to vet, obviously, the candidates, and we were really fortunate to be the one that was selected.
Yeah. What are the kinds of responsibilities? Like, what did that look like? Or
Yeah, so before, so Morin's focus, obviously, really, we are a catering company, but now we're working with a lot of facilities, not only to run the catering element, but obviously to run the space as well. So Katie's component was really touring the space and allowing the couples to come and see if it's a contender for their special day. So touring everyone, making sure that they know about the space and booking them within the building. And then we also had to take on the other component, which was Don's role as far as maintaining the facility, which is probably one of the biggest responsibilities that we're really excited about.
I'm sure, I'm sure. And so what kinds of events might happen there?
There's such a range of events, which is so wonderful. Obviously, the community events, which are so great to keep everyone in the town engaged, which is wonderful. It has such a history for a lot of couples, not only within the town, but within Rhode Island and even other states, because they'll utilize it for such a great wedding venue. And then fundraising events as well. Like, I know that you had spoken about one of the schools that had been there, and they're also going to be coming back and doing an event at Glen Manor House, which is so wonderful, and bringing different old uniforms from the school days and all of those things. So it's so nice that it still gets that part of the history of the space through the event.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Now, what is this event with the old uniforms? Maybe
So
I don't
it's
know about
the,
this one.
So basically, it's a class reunion of sorts from the old school that used to be on site.
Okay.
One of the contacts who I've been working with, and she's like, and can you believe upstairs in the newlywed suite, that used to be my dorm, and things like that. So it's just
Seriously?
so nice, because we see it as, obviously, this is the newlywed suite and this is this area, but to see it for what it used to be, it's such a great, reminder of how much history is within the building.
Oh, wow. Now, you said you've been with Russell Morin for 14 years. How did you get involved in that kind of work?
So I had went to school for hospitality and event management,
Okay.
And then it actually was one of my first jobs out of college when I was very young, and I was Russ's assistant and used to follow him around with a little notebook and take all of his notes, and then transitioned into helping to host some of the events.
Now, you said that Russ Morin is he's very excited about this egg brunch and egg hunts coming up.
Correct, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I want to straighten some things up. I think when we first put it out there, our town thought, oh, it's an Easter egg hunt open to absolutely everyone, and that's not actually the case. There's a brunch that you are hosting.
Correct. Yep. So everyone, is welcome if they want to participate. We're going to be hosting a brunch where you could come and purchase tickets to be able to attend the brunch. And then with that, there is an Easter egg hunt for the kiddos that goes along with it. So it really, is a nice opportunity to have a great family meal, and then follow it by a lovely brunch or a lovely egg hunt. I'm sorry.
That sounds absolutely delightful. So for information about that, again, is it the glenmanorhouse.com?
So a lot of it is on the Morins site, so you can go to www.morins.com, and I always say Morins with an S, and there'll be additional information on our blog area.
Okay, that is fantastic. Well, what else what's on your mind as are you down here nearly every day, or?
So I'm definitely making a transition to coming down here a good amount. We had a few weddings last weekend, and we have a few events this weekend, so definitely spending a lot more time within the Portsmouth area. I am a Rhode Islander, but I'm more northern Rhode Island, so it's a nice way to, see the coast in this area of town, so it's nice to be able to come visit.
So are you the point person, really?
Myself and my team. So we have a really great team that manages the property as far as hosting the events and planning with our couples. So
So what does that look like? How big of a team? What is it?
Yeah. So we
just
have
paint a picture for us, because this is so
yeah.
exciting to understand how it used to be run, and what's happening now. What are some new cool? Clearly bringing in an event company like yourselves, what does that look like?
Yeah, so we are showing the space. So we have a lot of our experienced specialists who are going to be touring our couples and really showing them all the amazing things of the house, and showing them the great opportunity to have an event there. So they'll start with sort of that process of our team, and then they move on to our planning team, which I oversee, and we have a number of planning specialists that plan at Glen. We have one main point person, my colleague Liz, who primarily hosts most of those couples, but then we also disperse it throughout our team as well. Just because we're so fortunate, because Glen Manor is such a popular place to host events, so it definitely will make us a busy season for sure.
I am sure. And when is the busy season? Are we rolling into
Always
it right
now.
Right now, kind of the spring, summer?
It's very funny, because there used to be a really dedicated season within New England where people hosted events, and now I feel like post-pandemic that's really fluctuated, that a lot of people are really taking an opportunity to host in those shoulder months, and really starting in early spring, where before it might have been too cold, and really hosting throughout the fall into November, which is great.
Yeah, so when did you guys officially make this transition? When did it?
I would say official was January 1st, if I'm correct.
This year?
Yep, we did start a few months prior, partnering, really learning from Katie and Don as far as the needs of the space, but really officially, January 1st.
Yeah, and you said Katie and Don have gone on to Scotland, so they might not even catch this show.
They might. Who
They
knows?
might. I would love.
YouTube.
It is. It is actually yes. So not only do we go out on cable, but we create a YouTube
So they
link.
can
So
do that.
you'll have to share that. Well, I was going to ask you, Maggie, if it's only been a few months, and I was going to say, what's not the craziest thing you've seen, but the most exciting event. But maybe just 3 months isn't. Maybe I need to look at you. What have you seen? What have you seen go down there at the Glen Manor House that you're just like, wow, that was incredible, or that was insane, or crazy? Like, what are good memories? Good positive memories.
I think some of the
crazy memories.
great memories, I won't say they're crazy, but I think some of the great memories are seeing all the people at the American Band concert. They're all so happy, and especially this past year, there was just a sense of people were out and back and just having a really good time. So I think Katie probably has the stories of the late nights with the bride and groom, but I will tell you that part of the Glen Manor House includes the dock that goes down to the water, and that has been refurbished. And so a lot of brides and grooms go down there to have photos taken at sunset, and it's a spectacular, stunning area. I'm sure maybe a few have gone in the water down there during a wedding, but please don't
or accidentally.
please don't quote me on any of that. I'm sure that's not supposed to go out, but it's it's just there's a lot of the landscaping, the gardens, so it just creates such a beautiful environment.
It's just so different from anything that's around here, and it's funny because I've worked there for so many years, but I walked up last weekend, we had a wedding there, and I have my bag and getting ready, and I really am in the mindset to execute a great event, and I go to open the door and I'm just looking up at the building, and I was like, this never gets old. It's always just so beautiful every time you go there. It's out of a storybook. It's really wonderful.
It is. And I'd love to add something about the help. Robbie Marvell is somebody that Russell Morin hired. Now, he worked for the Preservation Society in Newport. He is living just like Katie and Don did, living on the property. He is living there as well.
On-site caretaker.
On-site. That is so important to protect that house, to have somebody on site. We were concerned about that when Katie and Don were leaving. We wanted to make sure that that was happening. So he's there. He has such experience from working at the Preservation Society. But the story is, and I hope I have this correct, but he actually grew up at the Marble House. I believe his father was the caretaker at the Marble House. So we are so fortunate to have him. And I met him not that long ago, because this transition happened. Katie and Don left, their contract ended, I believe, at the end of the month of December. They left halfway in between, but they were still moving out, I would say, not leaving. But so he moved in.
He just brings an expertise and a respect that maybe is super unique to him.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, so you mentioned you were really concerned about that. Like, what was that going to look like when they left? What were some other concerns when you didn't know who was stepping in? What were the things that the friends of the Glen Manor House were like? Okay, what's your punch list? What did you need?
Well, we didn't want it sold and put into condos or something. I mean, that's the kind
that was
of
the
thing.
that was the big fear, right?
Yeah,
Like,
what happens to this building?
Yeah.
What happens to this beautiful building? So I think that was always the biggest fear, and the surrounding land, which makes it so worthwhile.
Yeah.
So I think that's always been
no
the fear.
problems. The town was fully on board with like protecting this and keeping it as an asset.
I think the town understands what an asset is, and quite honestly, what an asset it is from a financial perspective. I mean, over the years, Katie and Don, through weddings and what they put 75% of what they would get in weddings into the town's general fund. I hope I have that correct. but
Yeah,
I'm
or
pretty sure I
yeah.
do.
So it's still going to be something that is, the town's going to make money
Yes.
on.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely. It's a self-sustaining home. It's,
Right, right. And Russell Moran is the concessionaire. That's going to make that happen.
Correct.
Yet it's still that all of our Portsmouth peeps can look at this as this is still one of our best assets and still something that's going to be generating revenue for the town.
Well, absolutely. And Russell Moore Catering and Events has taken over other properties too, right?
Yes.
In Rhode Island. And so from my perspective, we can see what they've done. Previously, I think Mount Hope Farm is one.
Mount Hope Farm,
And-
Linden Place in Bristol
Yes.
as well. Providence
So-
Public Library.
So we see how they've taken care.
So it's in
and
your
respect it.
wheelhouse.
Yes.
It is. Yeah, we're so fortunate that, you know, all of these historical places really trust us to be able to come in. We really want to bring the respect that each, you know, venue deserves to the
What
space.
is it about you guys that earns that trust? I mean, I totally buy it, like clearly. So what if you had to capture the essence of it?
You know,
Maggie, what is it?
we have such a history, which is so wonderful. I feel like any person that you speak with at our company, sort of the longevity that of people that stay with our company, which is so wonderful. And then, you know, the company itself, it's a 100-plus-year-old company and a fourth-generation caterer. So it really brings, yeah, it just brings so much family element, I think, to a lot of our business that, you know, we have not only our owner, Russ Moran, we have his two sons that are still on property. His wife retired a few years ago. That we just have, you know, that vast knowledge and experience, but still that personal touch of, you know, family and community, which is great.
Is it a solely Rhode Island focus, or are you
No.
expanding outside of Rhode
So
Island?
we actually are a Massachusetts-based company.
Oh, okay.
Attleboro, Massachusetts is where our main commissary is, but we, you know, host events not only in Massachusetts but in Rhode Island as well. A good amount in Rhode
Clearly.
Island.
I heard about you guys since I moved here in 2009.
Good.
So, yeah, well, that is great. Well, so I love to end the show with just sort of a call to action to any of our viewers out there. I mean, would either of you want to weigh in on what would you like to see people do as it relates to the Glen Manor House, or you know, just caring, engagement? You know, maybe Brenda, that might really be a Brenda question.
I would think.
You know, I can see your passion
Tell
for
me how much
this.
time I have.
A minute. 1 minute to sum up all your passion. Why get involved?
Well, I also want to tell you that
Yeah.
we're at the 100th anniversary, 1923, 2023.
Wow.
So we're kind of saving that. Remember I told you we put the fourth event in with the
Okay, yes.
American band?
Yes.
Well, we're kind of saving something,
Okay.
a surprise.
Okay. Okay. So listen, everybody basically just needs to pay attention. So get on.
Pay attention, become a friend,
Become a
go
friend.
on our website, download the application, send us your membership, and
Yeah, beautiful. I am so grateful for both of you coming on and just hearing about this exciting next chapter of our Glen Manor House. Thank you so
you
much
very
for being
much.
part of this show.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Portsmouth This Week.